It's a beautiful afternoon for football here in Clemson, South Carolina, as a capacity crowd gets ready to watch the Clemson Tigers host the Virginia Tech Hokies. Hello, everybody. I'm Art Ekman, and working with me, Kim McQuilkin. And Kim, today we've got the classic matchup of an outstanding offense versus an outstanding defense.
Exactly. We've got Clemson coming into this game averaging 35 points a game. They're ranked 4th in the country. They'll be going against a Virginia Tech defense who's ranked 5th nationally against the score. They're only giving up 11 points a game.
And it's always interesting for comparative reasons to see two players who are vying for the same postseason honor.
We have two great defensive players on the field today. Both have been nominated for the Outland Trophy and the Lombardi Award. William Perry, the nose tackle for Clemson, he's 320 pounds. He leads the nation in tackles for loss. The Virginia Tech defensive player is Bruce Smith. He ranks 2nd behind Perry in tackles for loss. They're both great players. It ought to be a great afternoon.
So the fans and the players are ready right now for the opening kickoff to see this first matchup between these two teams since 1980. We'll be back with the opening kickoff after this. We're set for the kickoff as Alan Talbot from Richmond, Virginia, Jr. Gets set to kick off as Clemson won the toss, elected to receive. There you see the score of the last ball game between these two, a very close 13-10 victory for Clemson over the Hokies. That's Talbot, and back on their own end zone line, Ray Williams to the far side, Terrence Rulack to the near side. Some outstanding kick returns by these two young men. Rulack in 4 times has 112 yards. Ray Williams has returned 11 times for 238 yards. The balloons are being cleared off the goalpost to our right. As the pregame ceremonies, they released several thousand balloons and they got hung up on the goalpost. So now we're ready to go. You're looking at that kicker like Ray Williams and Terrence Rulack look that direction. It goes over to Williams. Williams from the 4-yard line. And a nice one-on-one tackle at the 15 to the 14-yard line by Alan Harris from Richmond, Virginia, a junior. The offensive starting lineup now for the Clemson Tigers, Mike Epley, along with Kenny Flowers and Steve Griffin starting at tailback. Terrence Rulack and Richard Butler, the wide receivers. The interior line, Engel, Reese, Swing, Cheatham, Ellis, and K.D. Dunn at the tight end. Sheldon Boyer is actually in along with Terrence Rulack as a wideout on the first play. As Mike Epley going to the air on the first play from scrimmage to Terrence Rulack, cuts around the 20, close to the first down as he goes out of bounds near the 25-yard line. Ray Fitz from Norfolk, Virginia, junior, 5'10", 177, makes the tackle. Taking a look at that defensive starting lineup, anchored by Bruce Smith, number 78. What a tremendous athlete he is. The linebackers, they're young this year, but have come on strong. Nelson and Daniels. Carter Thomas, Ashley Lee, one of the finest athletes on this ball club, and Leon Gordon in the defensive secondary.
Well, Art, there's been a lot of talk about defense coming into this ball game. Actually, Virginia Tech ranks number 1 in the country against the rush. And Clemson, of course, comes in with a very formidable rushing attack, so that'll also be an interesting matchup as they measure here for the first down.
First down for the Clemson Tigers in this season. You see the Clemson offense with 411.6 yards total.
But look at that Virginia Tech defense, allowing only 75 yards a game on the ground.
Pat Charleston and Ray Williams. The wide receivers now as Epley throws one to K.D. Dunn. Almost another first down as he makes it to the 34-yard line where Paul Nelson, the big linebacker, 3rd on this team in tackles, makes the hit.
And Art, I think this play is indicative of how Clemson respects the Virginia Tech defense against the rush. They come out throwing on first down. They fake the option down the line of scrimmage. Epley just set up and hit Dunn in the slot. That's a good first down play against a tough team against the rush.
Second down and 1 at the 34-yard line. This Clemson team is averaging 184.9 yards a game passing. That could be an all-time record if they complete the season. Here it goes long to Rulack. Rulack on his way for a touchdown. No penalty flag. Rulack. And Mike Epley now with 12 touchdown passes, and Rulack just 5 the Clemson career mark for touchdown catches in a season. It was held by Perry Tuttle. The previous record was 8.
On 2nd and 1, the Clemson offense caught the Virginia Tech secondary sleeping. Here's Epley, comes down the line, fakes the option. Rulak just ran a post pattern down the middle of the football field. Virginia Tech was back in a zone. They came up against the option, and look at this. Rulak's behind everybody. He goes into the end zone untouched.
Gordon and Fitz ran together, and Rulak had an easy time of it for his 8th touchdown catch of the year. Igwebuike is now 35 of 35 in extra points, and Clemson takes a quick 7-0 lead with still 14 minutes remaining in the first quarter. We'll be back with more action in a moment. There's Terrence Rulak listening to what he did right, I would assume, on that telephone upstairs to the coaches. The scoring drive only 3 plays, all passes, and with 86 yards passing today, Mike Epley now has moved over the 3,000-yard career mark in passing. Igwebuike sends it deep toward the end zone. Going back for it is Bob Thomas, and he'll let it go. And so the Hokies will take over 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. You know, Terrence Rulak has really established himself this year in his sophomore year. Already came into the ballgame with more touchdown receptions than Benny Cunningham had in his 4-year career. The offensive alignment now. Todd Greenwood, who took over after the starting quarterback broke his collarbone earlier in the year. Lots of injuries in that offensive line this season. The tight end, Joe Jones, the Hokies. Mark Cox. A surprise start in this ball game gets it away to Donald Snell. And Snell is close to the first down with a similar philosophy here, Kim, as the Clemson offense started off with. The Clemson defensive line, Wells, Berlin, William Perry, Meadows, and Terrence Mack. Walls and Jemas, the linebackers. Davis, Pleasant, Donaldson, and Watson, an outstanding secondary. No doubt we'll get a test today. Cox is back in the starting lineup. Last year, he passed for 1,188 yards, but this year had a shoulder separation against William and Mary and has been out, did not play in the last ball game. The handoff to the fullback, and they've got the first down. It's Bowie, and Steve Berlin got his arms around him.
Well, I think we have to credit Danny Ford on his opening drive for Clemson. He knew the Virginia Tech team was very tough against the rush. He came out passing, not only passing, but going for the bomb. It worked. Clemson's up 7-0. Now, Virginia Tech comes right out of the box. They open up with the same kind of pass that Clemson did, and they pick up their first down. Nigel Bowe from Hampton, Virginia, getting the first down out of that fullback spot. 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. Cox goes to his very fine tailback, but look at what happened. Michael Perry, the tackle for the loss. William Perry doing a great job. The Lombardi Trophy candidate William Perry on the field. We asked the refrigerator if winning such an award like the Lombardi Trophy meant a lot to him.
We won, you know, just help you, on the draft and everything. I say, it's put more money in your pocket and, you have more sense, when you go out and play.
William Perry's tackle putting the ball back on the 31-yard line where it is 2nd and 11 for the Hokies. Cox. He's got his tailback open, but he gets hit from behind by Terrence Mack. The Bandit, number 11. What a blindside hit on that shoulder.
Clemson plays a 52 defense. Terrence Mack is one of the stand-up defensive ends. He's actually referred to as the Bandit because he's sort of a monster back. He can drop back into secondary or he can rush the passer. That time he rushed the passer, and you can see he got there on time, breaking up the play.
Coming into the lineup is Clarence Nelson at that wingback position. He has 7 pass catches for 58 yards this year. They have gone to their tailback more as a pass receiver in situations like this on a 3rd and 11 from the 31. The rush is on. That's the tailback. Not good enough for the first down. By correction, the fullback on the reception, Nigel Bowe, is hit by Eldridge Milton. So they went to the man out of the backfield, but the fullback couldn't pick up the needed yardage, Kim.
Early in this game, Clemson is putting tremendous pressure on the quarterback, Mark Cox. Here we're going to see him back in the pocket, just getting the ball away. to his back, but the coverage was good downfield. He had to go underneath to Nigel Bowe, and that was Eldridge Milton coming up to make the tackle.
David Cox, the punter. And Reggie Pleasant goes back to wave for the fair catch at the 21-yard line, securing the ball. So Pleasant does his job as the Clemson Tigers get the ball back again after an outstanding defensive stand by the defense. They'll take over the 22-yard line. Cox's 42-yard punt hanging nicely in the air in good coverage by the Hokies. He's averaging 42.1 yards a punt coming into the game, with his longest a 59-yarder. Net punting for the Hokies, 39.9. Boyer to the near side as Epley pitches to Griffin. The tailback cuts inside the KD Dunn block on the outside and gets up to the 25-yard line for a gain of about 3 yards on the play.
There's the fake to the fullback Flowers, just the option down the line of scrimmage. There's KD Dunn out in front screening his man. Griffin picks up a few yards. Pretty good defense by Virginia Tech, however.
Urquhart making the tackle. Now it's a 2nd and 7. From the 25 for the Tigers. Williams in the slot to the near side. Griffin. And he's met hard by Urquhart once again.
One of the reasons Virginia Tech is so good against the run is because their secondary comes up very quickly and supports against the run. They play a 5-2 defense. They've got 4 defensive backs in the secondary. One of the things you have to be aware of when you have that kind of defense is getting burned deep on the pass, and that's what happened to him the last series. We've got a flag down on the field, Art.
Looks like a personal foul against Clemson. Cornell Urquhart from Stony Creek, Virginia. Has 29 tackles so far coming into this game. 1 tackle for loss, 6 sacks. And has recovered 1 fumble on this season. He plays right next to Bruce Smith.
Well, Clemson's going to have a 3rd and 19 inside their own 15-yard line.
Sheldon Boyer and Terrence Rulak. Rulak to the far side. And Boyer split wide. That's Rulak in motion. Epley goes for Rulak and right into the hands and out of the hands of Jesse Penn. I think Jesse Penn had interception in mind and touchdown in mind. That would have been his 5th if he hung on to it. 4 interceptions this year, Kim.
Epley's breathing a sigh of release. Look at that. Right into Jesse Penn's hands. Epley would have had to make the tackle. And Penn 6'3", 222.
Hatcher back to punt. Clemson 2nd in net punting in the nation. 44.1 yards per punt. Howell and Myers are back. I believe that's Howell who's got the ball at the 40, and he makes his way up to the 50. That's Myers, Billy Myers, the freshman. 5'11", 180 pounds. Virginia boy. With the score, Clemson 7, Virginia Tech nothing. We'll pause now for a word from your local station. Maurice Williams from Virginia Beach, Virginia, 6 foot tall. He's 203 pounds and great speed, a sophomore. From the 38. Reverse. The wingback Nelson. Nelson's necktied out of bounds at the 34. William Perry, number 66, with great lateral movement.
I'll tell you, that's a great play by a big man, 322 pounds. Virginia Tech did something odd. They tried to reverse back into the short side of the field. They really ran out of room, and the Clemson defense, of course, pursues so well. And when you've got somebody, there he is, 320 pounds pursuing like that, that's a tough defense to overcome.
2nd down and 5. They did gain 5 on the reverse at the 33. The tailback, and there's William Perry again, putting the hit to Maurice Williams. Oh, what a hit. I think he's hungry in this ball game. This challenge is something else for William Perry today.
I think you're right. So far, William Perry's given us every indication that he's aware that Bruce Smith is out here this afternoon. I guess he wants to prove who's best.
We saw on the screen a little earlier that he's 6th in career tackles in the Clemson lineup. second among down linemen behind Jim Stuckey's total of 418. 7-0 Clemson, 7:18 remaining first quarter, 3rd and 6 from the 34. Cox back to throw, slips, gets the ball away, and almost caught it near the first down marker, Maurice Williams. That would have been a miracle play. Craig Crawford had the pressure on Cox right here, Kim.
Well, Cox really shows us some escapability here. He slips. Notice his knee does not go down. He still manages to get this ball off, and he got it off in a place where if anybody was going to get it, it was going to be his receiver, number 2, Maurice Williams. Not a bad play by Cox, but it looks like Virginia Tech's going to try a field goal here from about 50 yards.
Ken Brown in at the bandit spot against the field goal kick try by Don Wade, who's 10 of 18. His longest is 43 yards.
Exactly.
And this is a 50-yarder. It's got a good chance. The bullet, though, off to the left. No good. He hooked it, had the distance, but not the accuracy. He leads this team in scoring. In fact, he is the career leader for Virginia Tech this year, scoring 52 points.
Here's the kick in slow motion.
Mike Sustick, the holder.
Sustick gets the ball down well. Notice both kicker and holder kept their heads down. When a kicker hooks the ball like that, sometimes it's an indication that perhaps he looked up too quickly, but it looked like his concentration was on in that play.
The barefooted kicker can't convert. Still 7-0 with 7:04 remaining first quarter. The Tigers taking over from their 33-yard line. Stacy Driver, the tailback, but Epley decides to hold on wisely and gets a gain of about 4 yards on the play before Jesse Penn makes the tackle. Penn from that defensive end spot.
Well, here's the option. Richard Butler from his wide receiver position is going to crack back and make a block for Epley that really helps him gain some yards. There's a nice fake by Epley. As he turns it up, there's Butler right there making the block. Epley pays the price for those 5 yards, though.
2nd and 5 from the 38. Williams to the far side, and it's Boyer, Sheldon Boyer to the near side. And off straight up the middle to the fullback, Kenny Flowers, and Flowers off left tackle does not get enough for the first down, making it over the 40 to the 41-yard line. They have to go over the 43-yard line for a first down. Morgan Roan is 35th tackle of the year from Virginia Beach, Virginia. He's 6'5", but he's a little light for 6'5", 235. Only a sophomore. He's got time to build up.
All right, 3rd and 3 is really where Clemson is its toughest. They can pass here. They can run the option. They've got a lot of things available to them offensively.
3rd and 2 from the 41. Epley the option once again, and he does not get the first down. Beautiful come-up tackle by Ray Fitz that time. Fitz is 14th tackle of the year. He's from Norfolk.
Virginia Tech very tough on defense against the run. Clemson running the option into the short side of the field. Fitz was right on Epley. The defense strung it out, nowhere to go. Clemson's going to have to punt.
Billy Myers is the deep man as they drop 2 back at the 20. Dale Hatcher, whose first punt of the ballgame was 48, puts this one high and short. It'll be great coverage. In fact, they have to let it go, and he'll get yardage out of that one. Because of the height of the kick, the hang time, and the great coverage, there's no way that Billy Myers could pick up that football.
Look at Hatcher shaking his head.
So Hatcher now gets his 9th punt of the season within the 20-yard line. 55 yards on the kick. With Clemson leading Virginia Tech 7-0. We'll pause for this word. That was Hatcher's 9th punt over 50 yards. And he is averaging 51.5 in this ball game. 1st and 10 from the 4-yard line for the Hokies. 5:14 remaining in the first period. Penalty flags in the air as Hunter has the ball. Watson brings him down. Correction, Becton with the carry.
Well, we mentioned on Clemson's last possession how the wide receiver Richard Butler cracked back on the option to help out his quarterback. On this play, Nigel Bowe, the flanker for Virginia Tech, is going to crack back right there and clips the defensive end for Clemson. And he got caught doing it. They're going to mark some more yardage back against Virginia Tech.
So that really puts their backs to the wall. Ball being placed at the 2-yard line after the clip violation. So it'll still be first down. 12 yards to go from the 2. So far, this has been an interesting ball game because the Hokies, when they had good field position, seemingly moved the ball well at times, just couldn't get it into the end zone. The variety of offense we're seeing today is phenomenal. Quarterback sneak, Cox just trying to get some running room. Doesn't make it to the 5-yard line. Back to the original line of scrimmage, though, probably. Just over the 4.
Well, a lot of shifting by Virginia Tech that time. I think they were very lucky not to be called with illegal motion. The tight end was barely set before the snap. Now with a 2nd and 10, I wouldn't like to make this play call, Art. 2nd and 9 on your own 5-yard line against a very tough Clemson defense.
Now, Kim, that doesn't sound good coming from a quarterback, an ex-quarterback now. You've got to have confidence in your play call.
I like to make those calls inside the 10.
Yeah, right.
The other direction.
Bowen Williams, the running backs. It goes to Williams. And he's bounced out of bounds hard. Milton along with Delton Hall, number 35. So Williams does get some yardage, though, out to the 12-yard line where it'll be 3rd and 2.
Well, here's a replay. This was the toss sweep. There's Ernie Jones, the fullback, out in front.
Good block.
Really not executing the block. Delton Hall sheds the block and gets in on the tackle.
On that corner, that tight end, Joe Jones looked good, though.
Well, Jones is a tight end, but he weighs 247 pounds.
He's their leading pass receiver as well. 3rd and 2. First down yardage. Maurice Williams, number 2, once again. Nice cutback.
Well, Virginia Tech does not have any points on the board yet, but offensively they are showing some character. Earlier in the game, they overcame a 2nd and 21. Now deep in their own territory, they overcome a 2nd and 12. That time just good thrust by the offensive line off a right tackle, and they've got themselves almost out to the 20-yard line.
And his little cutback took advantage of the over-aggressiveness of Chucky Richardson, the linebacker. 1st and 10 from the 18. And he spun into the arms. Morris Williams just spun right into the defensive arms of Craig Crawford. That's it, number 49. Made the spin before he really knew where he was going or who was coming at him. 2nd and 11 now for the Hokies at the 17. 3 minutes, 2 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Steve Ellsworth comes in at split end, along with the wingback Terrence Howell. Cox. Nice catch that time by Ellsworth, and Ellsworth very close to the stick. Perry Williams coming up to make his 13th tackle of the year from Adairsville, Georgia. And Ellsworth looks like he might have the first down. Let's see where they place the football.
This was a great adjustment by Ellsworth to come back and catch this ball. Here you see Cox on a 3-step drop, lets it go. Look at, he's going out there to protect himself. He knew he put it on the wrong side, but Ellsworth came back for the ball, made a nice catch. They're going to be just short of the first down. Cox now 5 for 7 for 47 yards, Art.
Looks like that shoulder is feeling just fine. 3rd and 1, the second third down of this drive. A quick hit is good for the first down. The fullback Bull, Nigel Bull. He comes into the game with 191 yards rushing and 48 carries, averaging 4 yards a carry. Good quick hit.
Just a straight ahead play, man-on-man blocking, good forward thrust by the Virginia Tech offensive line. They've got more than enough for the first down.
So the Hokies moving it on the ground and through the air. 1:52 left in the first quarter. They trail 7-0. Pitch back to Williams. Williams, good pursuit that time by number 91, Michael Perry. Got him off balance, and then Jeff Wells came up to help out. Tiger paw on the cheek.
If you're playing offense for Virginia Tech, it seems like every time you turn around, there's a Perry in your face. This time it's Michael Perry. The toss sweep to Virginia Tech's left. And here we're going to see Perry come in, disrupt the play. Jeff Wells finishing it off. They've got a 2nd and 10.
Maurice Williams out of the ball game, and coming back in is Becton. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Becton slips, and right there to secure things is Escrow, Greg Escrow at the middle guard spot.
Well, one of the reasons Becton slipped was because Escrow penetrated so far into the backfield, he forced him to try and make a cut early. Nowhere to go, and now Virginia Tech's got a tough call, 3rd and 13.
Wells, Berlin, Escrow, and Michael Perry. Terrence Mack, Chucky Richardson, Eldridge Milton, the linebackers. Dildon Hall, one of the cornerbacks on a 3rd and 13. They'll be playing an important part probably here from the 30-yard line. Cox going back, gets a big rush and a big hit for the Bandit. And a penalty flag is down and looks like pass interference on the completion. Clarence Nelson was covered by Kenny Danforth and Anthony Johnson.
Well, Clemson blitzed on this play. They came up and challenged Virginia Tech. It's a tight man-on-man defense. There you see their receivers cross. That's where Danforth got crossed up himself. That's Clarence Nelson on a great catch. They're going to move the ball all the way down to about the 35-yard line.
Actually, he caught. We'll get to this pressure right now, Kim.
Well, you see Cox rolling out. He's got some time. Look at Terrence Mack hitting him just as he lets go of the ball. But here's another fine adjustment by a Virginia Tech wide receiver. The ball was to his outside shoulder. That's Clarence Nelson making the adjustment, making the big catch. They've got a 1st down and 10 at the 35-yard line.
Actually, that play was about as well played by Kenny Danforth as you could expect after having to catch up with him. He looked for the ball, he saw the ball, but there was a beautifully placed pass and a nice catch. 1st and 10 now from the 35. Cox once again to the air, but he lets it go loose. As William Perry was pursuing him, it was intended for Joe Jones. Jones with 32 receptions for 362 yards. He has no touchdowns this year.
Well, they kidded him because he doesn't have a touchdown in his career. Last week, he got tackled on a 32-yard reception at the 1-yard line.
This is quite a drive by the Hokies. 11 plays as they took over the ball from their own 4-yard line. So they're keeping the Clemson defense on the field for quite a long time. 2nd and 10 from the 35. The reverse. And that is Thomas. Alan Thomas, the wing back, but a penalty flag is down as he's getting racked behind the line of scrimmage.
And this is the 2nd time that Virginia Tech has tried to reverse into the short side of the field. I just don't think with the kind of pursuit that the Clemson defense has and the great team speed that you can run that play to the short side of the field.
There's the tiger paw on the cheek. The fans here in Clemson, South Carolina, trying to set a new record for the Guinness Book of Records for the number of painted articles, I guess, on the face or skin.
Alabama
yes.
challenged them. They sent the record a couple of weeks ago.
They have a habit during Family Day of trying something like that. Bill Dooley, the head coach of the Hokies, as the penalties being marched off, it's clipping against the Hokies. There is a vicious rumor that last year's Guinness Book of Records that was set here for number of balloons released up into the air, they had over 363,000 released. There's a vicious rumor that that record was broken recently in Japan.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. So next year we might see him go after that again. That's the end of the first quarter. With the score, Clemson 7, Virginia Tech nothing. We'll pause now for a word from your locals. Donald Snell comes to the near side as we start the second quarter. The Hokies 2nd and 28 to go from the 47-yard line after the penalty. Cox back, gets deep, big pressure. Let's go. He's got his man open, the wingback Nelson. Clarence Nelson out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Watson and Davis on the scene. He hangs well under pressure here.
Well, there you see Cox on the play fake, faking to his tailback, stepping up nicely on that play into the pocket. And what a great catch at the sideline.
Nelson came into the game with 7 catches for only 58 yards, really. But that was a key one there. The 12th play of this series. 3rd down, 3 yards to go from the 28. They'll go to the air again and complete. Phillips Howell, number 81. Penalty flag is down. They'll probably get more yardage on the play.
Well, nothing fancy about this play. Cox is going to come out, set up just on a 3-step drop to his left. The slot man just turned around 5 yards downfield into the Clemson zone. Good play call, good reception. Ronald Watson finally coming up, making the stop. Eldridge Milton helping him out. Let's see what the call is.
You know, the offensive line of the Hokies is doing a terrific job against this Clemson defense. They've been racked with injuries all season long.
Well, one of the things they're doing now in the ball game that they weren't doing in the first series is they're using the short pass and the play action pass. That'll keep that front four off balance. Cox in the ball game now has completed 8 of 11 for 121 yards. Not a bad start. And let's see the call being marked off against Clemson. Personal foul.
Another personal foul.
Well, you know, Danny Ford doesn't like those calls.
Referee Rod Daly signifying personal foul. Danny Ford turn his defense on now. They've been on the field for a long time. First down. 4 to go for a first down at the 6-yard line. So the percentages swinging over to the Hokie offense now. They're flooding the end zone. Cox can't find anybody. And finally, linebacker Henry Walls gets a hand on him inside the 5-yard line. It looks like it might be a first down.
Well, Cox shows us what kind of a competitor he is. Here he is rolling out to his right. Good coverage in the Clemson secondary. He just tucks it under his arm. Look at cutting straight back into the middle of the field. That's rough going in there, but he picks up 5 yards. May have gotten the first down.
Ran right into the pulling guard, Tom Mayer. Mayer's done a nice job in that blocking, too. Got good foot speed. Out of the power eye. That's Howell in motion. The handoff going to Williams. Williams getting down near the goal line.
Well, you can tell Virginia Tech can almost taste pay dirt because this is one heck of an effort by Williams over left guard. Good block by his fullback. And look at him dive for the end zone. That's Eldridge Milton meeting him in the air, but Nigel Bowe made a great block in the hole, and they almost got inside the end zone.
Fans on their feet now on a second down with 1 to go for the score. Good submerging tackle on Maurice Williams. Did not get in yet, anyway.
You know, you like your quarterback not to make the big mistake. Cox, of course, took the timeout inside the 1-yard line, but what that does is you do lose some momentum when you call a timeout. Now look at Williams. Going to try to go over the top, but look at those defenders. There's Michael Perry meeting him right in the hole. Terrence Mack timed his jump perfectly. They got a little closer.
So they're only inches away from that goal line. And it's 3rd down. Big play for the defense now. Williams and Bowe, the running backs. It's Williams. He stopped, throw, touchdown. A beautiful individual effort after getting hit, spinning, and finally getting into the end zone. Maurice Williams.
Well, you're right, Art. The second effort got him into the end zone. We're going to see him hit at the line of scrimmage. Here he is, Maurice Williams. Look at Michael Perry, William Perry diving in there, but look at the spin by Williams. That slices him into the end zone. 31 coming up. Ronald Watson made contact at the goal line. Here we see it from the end zone camera. Look at William Perry diving in there. But a fine individual effort by Maurice Williams gets him into the end zone.
His 5th touchdown of the year. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So this ball game is tied by Don Wade, who's now 23 of 23 in the extra point department. So with 12:22 remaining before halftime, it is Clemson 7, Virginia Tech 7. It took 16 plays, but they went 96 yards, taking 7 minutes and 52 seconds off the clock to tie this ball game, capped by Williams' 1-yard run. Clemson 7, Virginia Tech 7. As we look at the back of Ray Williams on his own goal line. Getting set to kick off is Alan Talbot. He does all the kicking off, place kicking chores. And it's Don Wade who does the field goal kicking and extra point kicking. It's going to Rulak from the 2. Runs into the pack, short of the 20-yard line, and there's some very excited Hokies down there. They say they want the football. One of Terrence Rulak's blockers coming off the play very slowly, Henry Carter, as Clemson gets set to take over 1st and 10 from their 19-yard line. Stacy Driver and Kenny Flowers will be the running backs. Flowers at fullback, Driver at the tailback spot.
Well, in the opening series, Clemson came out throwing the ball on 1st down. Since then, they haven't moved the ball at all on the ground. Only 12 yards rushing in the 1st quarter.
12-16 remaining here in the 2nd quarter. Stacy Driver with the carry. Hits the hole quickly, but it buttons up quickly, too, as the linebackers coming in along with Jesse Penn from the defensive end spot. Vince Daniels at linebacker making a good play along with Paul Nelson.
Well, here's Stacy Driver out of the I formation, right up the middle. Look at the big hit there. Jesse Penn slicing in. Good yardage, however, on 1st down.
Stacy Driver, the leading rusher. Kenny Flowers, the number 2 rusher, now in the lineup for Clemson on a 2nd and 6 from the 23. Epley, straight drop, and here comes the student body. Dishes it off to Stacy Driver. Driver can't get the block he needs from Steve Reese. One cut, and he'd have at least 10 more yards.
Well, Clemson put both of their wide receivers to the left, Charleston and Boyer. Both of them block down, and they throw the slip screen to Stacy Driver. He's got good running room. There you see Steve Reese.
Just can't get the angle on
Trying
Gordon.
to get the angle, right. That's on Leon Gordon. Nevertheless, good yardage and a 1st down for Clemson.
Driver adding some spark to the offense now for Clemson. This game is all tied up. From the 30, 1st and 10, Flowers. Diving over the front line. Gain of a couple of yards on the play. Flowers comes in with an average of 8.3 per carry.
Well, that time they tried to run over the All-American Bruce Smith. Smith did a good job on that play. Clemson comes up with only 2 yards, 2nd and 8 now.
So it is now 2nd and 8 out of a pro set. K.D. Dunn shifting to the right side of the line. Handoff goes to Flowers. He's stacked up after a gain of only 2 yards. Paul Nelson getting the first hit. The linebacker from Frederick, Maryland. And he's the 3rd leading tackler in this club with 78 tackles coming in. Also, is evident that he drops back well in the pass coverage. He's got 3 interceptions this year, Kim.
Well, I really believe if Clemson's going to move the ball against Virginia Tech, they're going to have to throw on 1st down.
3rd and 5 from the 35. Richard Butler and Terrence Rulak, the wideouts. Driver's bottled up, and they were looking for Driver coming out of the backfield. Epley having to tuck the ball under his arm and go out of bounds. Penalty flag goes down. Bruce Smith making the hit on Epley. We're seeing his agility on this play. Let's check the flag. It was near the tackle. It looks like a clip on Clemson.
Well, Epley's dropping back. He wants to throw the screen pass to his left to Stacy Driver. I'll tell you, Mark Webb, number 76, the nose guard, put Stacy Driver into the nickel seats, forcing Epley to run the ball. No receiver available. That's Bruce Smith running him down. Looks like Virginia Tech's going to have the option here.
Smith only bench presses about 380. He decided over Virginia and Michigan, North Carolina State to go to Virginia Tech because it was closer to home. His father retired from civil service and the Army with a back injury. Very close to his family ties.
Tigers penalized 15 yards for clipping.
The ice bag on Carter's knee as Charleston and Boyer come into the ball game on a 3rd and 23. Clemson has all they can handle from the Hokies. 9:36 remaining before halftime. Epley dropping back in a 4-man rush. Steps up. Intercepted. Gordon with the football. And the Hokies will take over. Epley got popped pretty hard after he let go of the football.
Well, Mike Epley would like to have this ball back. He made one of the few poor decisions that he's made in his career. They wanted to throw the throwback to Stacy Driver, who was running out of the backfield down the sideline. The play was disrupted because of the pass rush. Epley had to step up into the pocket. The timing was off. Mike probably should have eaten the ball, but he tried to force it in. Virginia Tech comes up with a big interception.
Mark Webb really popping Epley on the play. The penalty flag is down, but the defense is coming back onto the field for Clemson. It'll be assessed after the interception. The penalty coming after the interception, so it sets it back to midfield. A good break for the Tigers. Personal foul, and it could have been roughing the passer after the pass was let go. Could it not, Kim?
I always like to see that called.
Well, we got to protect our quarterback. So. First and 25 at the 50. Cox has done a brilliant job at quarterback. Slings the ball out, and it's complete to Howell. And Howell is brought down at the 40-yard line. As they very smart in their play calling, not trying to get it all back at once, but to chip away and take away what's given them. Reggie Pleasant, the tackle.
Well, here's the sprint out to Cox's left. Notice how he squared his shoulders to the line of scrimmage. Sometimes a difficult pass for a quarterback rolling to his left, but Cox executed it perfectly that time, was right on the money. Made up part of that first and 25. There you see Terrence Howell. He's evidently got some sort of a leg problem.
And it looks like he was trying to work out a twisted ankle. Second and 14 from the 39. Cox on the straight route gets all the time in the world and just bullets the ball right through the hands of Ellsworth. Ellsworth, who made a great catch earlier in the first quarter, was unable to come up with that bullet. 8:40 still remaining second quarter. Third and 14 now for the Hokies. All right, quarterback McQuilkin, what would you call on this one?
Quick kick. Third and 14.
That's
when you look to the sidelines. You look to the sidelines for the call, and all the coaches are turned with their backs to the field.
I bet he tries to get rid of it quickly. Cox, only a four-man rush. Let's go, and it's complete, but no first down. It goes over to Alan Thomas, a wingback from Whitney, West Virginia. Eldridge Milton was covering him well. He got the catch, but couldn't go very far. Good job, pitcher.
Yeah.
Fourth and 8 from the 33. The Hokies are going for it. Steve Berlin jumps off. Well, that'll help out the situation unless he was encouraged to spring across the line into the neutral zone. It'll be illegal procedure against Clemson.
Well, that's a big penalty because instead of 4th and 8, we've got a 4th and 3 now. There you see from the end zone camera, Steve Berlin. Cox evidently using his voice, the inflection drawing Berlin off sides. Now that play call 4th and 3 is a lot easier call.
Well, they're going for the field goal,
they're going to go for the field goal.
Gwaltney will be the snapper, Sustick the holder, and Don Wade will try the field goal with the ball placement right at the 35-yard line. It might be good enough. No good, off to the right. It had a chance till the end, but once again, it was not true. He pulled the first try, which is considerably longer, and let this one fade to the right. So with 8 minutes, 28 seconds remaining here in the second quarter, the score remains Clemson 7, Virginia Tech 7. And we'll pause now for a word from your local station. $78,000, and a new record is being announced of faces painted. 42,000, was it? More than 42,000 faces were painted before today's ball game.
Does that include our makeup job?
No, no, it does not. On the 1st and 10 from the 28, Epley drops one over, and K.D. Dunn just goes right through his hands. It's becoming contagious. There's one of the nicer examples. Can you imagine?
Clemson wanted to throw the screen to their tight end. Epley's going to roll to his left, set up, throw back to number 81, K.D. Dunn. Dunn gets hit right on the numbers with the ball. incomplete pass may be a good thing because Virginia Tech's defense was right on top of him.
Butler to the near side with Ray Williams in the slot on a 2nd and 10 from the 28. He goes over to Ray Williams, who head-on-head. Beautiful tackle by Bob Thomas. Thomas is having a whale of a ball game.
Well, now, I think this has been 2 good calls by the Clemson offense. 2 quick passes on 1st and 2nd down. But what we see is Virginia Tech playing good defense. That time rotating up right into the call. Clemson's faced with a 3rd and 13 now.
That was an excellent read by the Glen Ellen, Virginia young man, because he could have gone a little bit further with the outside receiver and not been in good position to make that play. Epley over the middle, intercepted this time by Lee. And Ashley Lee, one of the best athletes on this team, takes it inside the 10. Penalty flag is down. The pass was intended for Terrence Rulak. It'll be holding, though, I do believe, against Clemson on the play. They decline the penalty. The Hokies take over the football with great field position. The Hokie defense completely confusing the Tigers offense.
Well, Virginia Tech is playing a zone. Mike Epley's going to drop straight back in the pocket, and I'm sure when he comes to the sidelines, he's going to let his tight end know, Jim Riggs, you've got to come back for the ball. Riggs does not do this, and consequently, the defender is able to step in front of Riggs and pick that ball off.
Okay, the Hokies, 1st down at the 9-yard line. Well, the Clemson defense has been taxed severely in this ball game. Ken Brown into the lineup. Becton is the tailback. Cox looking for the end zone, runs around Brown, and the pass is batted down nicely by Tyrone Davis, intended for Donald Snell. The sophomore couldn't quite come back far enough for that pass.
Well, Kenny Brown, who's the bandit, fills in for Terrence Mack, really does a nice job because Cox made a nice play fake on the pitch and rolled to his right. Brown was the only guy that was not fooled. He stayed at home, made Cox come up and throw the ball incomplete.
The 8th pass interrupted by Tyrone Davis this season. Cox, really Brown delayed Cox's throw, which he was open at the beginning, and that was the key right there, as you said. So it's 2nd and 9 now. Tailback, Becton. And the first hit will go to Ronald Watson. Keith Williams, the linebacker, also covering on the play to Becton, who's got lots of speed to the outside. But now it is a 3rd with 2 yards to go for the touchdown.
Becton really does have a lot of speed out of the I formation, just a handoff. Look at the blockers he's got out in front. That's Nigel Bowe throwing a nice block for him. Gets all the way down to the 3-yard line. Very critical 3rd and 3 here, Art.
Bowe's the fullback with the tailback, Becton. Cox looking deep, falls down. Unable to get free was Greg Brooks. Brooks was tied up at the line nicely. And we've got a 4th down situation.
Virginia Tech came in with 2 tight ends and the power I, really a running formation. They throw the play action pass, but the pressure, that was 88. Jeff Wells for Clemson forced Cox to step up and get sacked. As you mentioned, Greg Brooks was trying to cross, come underneath the coverage, but Cox couldn't get the ball to him.
Sustic will try from the 16-yard line. Cox, I should say Wade, the field goal kicker, as Sustic puts the ball down. It is up and it is good. So Virginia Tech takes their first lead in this ball game. 3 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter. As Don Wade puts the ball through the uprights for a 10-7 lead.
Well, I think Danny Ford's got to be somewhat happy to come out of that situation, giving up only the field goal, because Virginia Tech had the ball, obtained the ball in excellent field position, and really the Clemson defense tightened up down inside the 10-yard line.
An exhausting first half for the Clemson Tiger defense. Talbot kicking off. Rulak goes back into the end zone, and he decides to run it out. With 3:40 remaining before halftime, Rulak is corralled down at the 12-yard line. Possibly not the wisest move.
Well, Terrence Rulak is a real competitor. That time he caught the ball about 6-7 yards deep in his own end zone, said, what the heck, I'm going to try to break one. Virginia Tech got the better of that decision, however.
Danny Ford putting his hat back on his head, saying, oh, my gosh. So an interception, setting up a 3-play drive. Wade's 26-yard field goal, giving the Hokies the 10-7 lead. And the Tiger offense now deep in their own territory once again. Griffin is the tailback, shifting back into the eye, and he gets the pitch. Getting around Gordon, but not being able to get around the big guy, number 32. Vince Daniels.
Oh, here's the toss sweep. Kenny Flowers, the fullback, makes a nice block for Griffin, but you mentioned number 32. Vince Daniels was out there. Clemson cannot get outside Virginia Tech's perimeter.
Good lateral quickness by Daniels, who's number 1 in tackles on this team, coming into the game with 89 tackles, 7 for loss. He's got 2 sacks. So it's 2nd and 8 now for the Tiger offense. Pro set from the 15-yard line. Flowers, the ball carrier, and very little running room. Turner and Daniels to make the stop.
Well, you know, a team that leads the nation in defense against the rush probably does it with 2 major factors. Number 1, great team pursuit. Number 2, very good support from their secondary on the run, and that's exactly what they've been doing this afternoon. Clemson with very little yardage on the ground.
Danny Ford looking on as it's a 3rd and 7, a big play now from the 16-yard line. They double-team Smith as Epley rolls to the far side. Can he get the first down? He goes out of bounds before the yardstick.
Well, here's Epley on the roll to his right. Nobody open. He wants to throw the ball downfield. Good coverage. Tucks it under. He's going to come up just a yard short. Good defense by Virginia Tech.
Bob Thomas forcing him out, and Dale Hatcher comes in for his 4th punt of the afternoon, averaging 47.5 in the previous 3. Billy Myers is the deep man, and that's the young man that'll go back to get it at the 33-yard line. Good pursuit on the play.
Well, good pursuit and a great punt by Hatcher that time. 5 seconds on the hang time. Whenever you get it over 4 seconds, you're going to give your coverage team a great shot at containing the receiver.
Scott Williams, the snapper, and John Phillips from Spruce Plains, North Carolina, combining for the stop. 1:53 remaining in the 2nd quarter. The Hokies with a 3-point lead, looking to better that advantage before they go to the locker room. Cox, who's done an outstanding job at quarterback. Maurice Williams is the tailback. The reverse is called, and that's Howell, Terrence Howell, who's run out of bounds. The reverses have not worked well, but they've spread out the defense a little bit. William Perry, number 66, goes over to the sideline to spray a few people about.
Well, this is the 3rd time that Virginia Tech tries the reverse into the short side of the field. It's the 2nd time that William Perry's made the stop right around the line of scrimmage. Look at the great pursuit by that big man, forcing the runner out of bounds for no gain.
Henry Walls is down on the play. Henry Walls helped off the field. Eldridge Milton and Chucky Richardson, the linebackers for Clemson, on a big 2nd and 10 from the 42 for the Hokies. 1:47 remaining 2nd quarter. Jones at fullback, Williams the tailback. Cox back to pass, gets the big rush from the linebacker core. Terrence Mack making the tackle for the bandit spot at the 40-yard line. Well, they had Richardson on the move this time, number 56.
Here's Cox on the play-action pass, faking to his tailback. He gets a lot of pressure from Chucky Richardson, the linebacker, and there's Terrence Mack, the bandit, finishing him off. Good pressure that time by the Clemson defense.
5 sacks on the year for Terrence Mack. And the clock is moving with 1:12 remaining here in the 2nd quarter. 3rd and 12 from the 40. Cox looking back. He's got the short man, but he goes long. And a beautifully completed pass to Joe Jones. The tight end gets the first down inside the 45.
Clemson's playing a zone defense in the secondary. The defenders just drop back and cover an area. What Joe Jones does, he goes down the middle of the field and finds the open area. And look at him come back for this ball. That's the key to the catch by the tight end, especially when you're throwing over the middle. And Cox really laid it on the line.
And that equals the longest pass reception of the year for Joe Jones at 24 yards. 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. Cox goes back and throws it right through the hands this time of Howell, Terrence Howell. Michael Perry, a good rush on the play. Henry Walls, they're checking over the knee to see how serious that injury might be. It's not feeling any too good, let me tell you. 2nd down and 15 from the 49-yard line for the Hokies. Nelson in motion as Cox goes back. Double teaming, and look at that, off the double team, Michael Perry. Continues to blitz his older brother William Perry's records for sacks and tackles as a freshman.
Well, this is the best way to stop a passing attack. I believe Virginia Tech feels they found a weakness in the Clemson zone. They lined Joe Jones up in the slot that time. He's the big tight end. He was working in the middle of the football field against that zone, and that's where Cox wanted to go with the ball. But when you get that kind of rush, your passing game is not going to be effective.
That time the Hokies keeping those running backs in and looking for a longer toss. 9 seconds remaining before halftime.
There's Terrence Mack. You know, it takes really quite an athlete to play that bandit position, the monster back type position. He's a stand-up defensive end, but he's also got to have the quickness of a linebacker to get back into coverages.
Interesting thing, too, Kem, that he was recruited as a quarterback out of high school and as a freshman started in that bandit position.
That doesn't surprise me. Quarterbacks are usually very versatile.
3rd and 21. Cox on the roll. He's going for the long bomb. Intercepted by Reggie Pleasant. He was out of bounds when he caught the football. So time has run out here in the 2nd quarter with the score. Virginia Tech 10, Clemson 7. We'll be back with more in a moment. Art Ekman and Kim McQuilkin here at halftime with the score of Virginia Tech 10, Clemson 7. I think it's just proof in this first half of action that we saw the Virginia Tech Hokie defense perform extremely well against high caliber quality as far as the offensive side of the line is concerned.
They have proven their defense is for real. Clemson's high-powered offense only has 126 yards total offense at halftime. Most significant is the fact they've only got 38 yards on the ground.
And you have the feeling, I think, here at halftime, or at least I do, that it's one big play that's kept Clemson in this ball game.
Well, that's true. Of course, the big touchdown pass. Here we see it on the replay. Mike Epley fakes the option down the line of scrimmage, sets up. Terrence Rulak got behind the Virginia Tech secondary, behind their zone. He's all by himself running into the end zone, and that's the one big play that's kept Clemson in this ball game.
Epley going over the 3,000-yard plateau for career passing, and Rulak ties the single-season touchdown reception record for Clemson with his 8th touchdown reception, the high five with Boyer. But the Hokie offense came right back in a long 96-yard drive.
And a great second effort here by Maurice Williams on the touchdown. We see William Perry making the initial hit at the line of scrimmage, but he slices, bounces off. The second effort got him into the end zone, and of course, Virginia Tech's up 10-7.
An example of the Hokie defense right here.
Well, we see Epley rolling out. He's going to get pressure. He's going to step up, throw this ball up for grabs. Really, we see him pay the price as he lets go of the ball. And here's the Virginia Tech secondary on the spot. That was a big turnover, led to their field goal.
Gordon with the interception, doing a fine job in that defensive secondary, taking advantage of the great rush. Now, Kim told us a little bit about the stats, but look right here, on black and white, and some orange in the background. Rushing only 29 yards for Clemson, or Virginia Tech, 38 yards for Clemson. So this has not been a rushing ball game, but the 155 yards for Virginia Tech.
And of course, what that adds up to is the time of possession. 19 minutes for Virginia Tech, only 10:49 for Clemson. That's been the key to the game. The fact that the Clemson offense has spent most of the time on the sideline. Their defense right now is overworked.
With the score, Virginia Tech 10, Clemson 7. We'll be back with the second half of action in just a moment.